One can imagine how surprised the trolls were when they were told to come to the palace. The young troll was not at all happy because he was afraid of the royal hunting dogs. But there was nothing to do. He put on a new speckled tie, pulled his hat deeper over his black hair, and drove to the palace in the rattling cart. And then safely, without any adventures, returned home with royal it says underwear. That's with royal laundry would be better to say. I explained you last time that in Russian we have the same word for underwear and also for like bed sheets, duvets, all those kind of things. Same word, so it's a bit royal underwear doesn't sound good. When the troll saw the pretty little dresses of the princess, Mama Trollches. When Mama Troll saw the pretty little dresses of the princess, she almost went crazy with delight. Never before had she seen such lovely tiny silk diapers, tiny embroidered vests and shorts. She stood for a long time hanging the clothes of the little princess on her long hooked finger, and then she called her son to come and admire. But her son did not understand much about such things. "Listen, Julie, your baby will have to wear such tiny clothes. Well, when you get married," said the Mama Troll, pushing her son on the side. "Twee," the son explained with bitter irony, "such clothes are just for trolls." "Are you really going to look for troll bride?" the troll woman screamed. "After all, we're almost real people now. No, you will have a beautiful wife with golden hair, and your children will be blonde and curly." The old woman squeaked, cradling the princess' underwear like a little child. Again, princess clothes and items. "Oh, don't make it up, mother," the young troll hissed angrily and kicked a barrel of water with his paw. "Who wants to take me as a husband?" But once the troll was up to something, it stuck firmly in her head, and she had several little princess dresses in her trunk. "You take their eyes off as soon as they start counting the laundry," she told her son when he was about to take back the royal laundry. "Because you probably still have a little bit of troll ingenuity left." And the young troll had to repeat the spell that he had to mutter when the chamberlain would count the laundry. So here we are. Mama Troll starts stealing a child's clothes for herself, for her future grandchildren trolls. And the task of a young troll, when he brings back the laundry to the castle, to do a special words so they wouldn't notice that something is missing. And everything went well. Every week the troll's son went to the palace to get dirty laundry, and each time his mother hid something from the princess' tiny clothes. But when the washed linen was returned, the chamberlain did not notice anything. So a few weeks passed, but the princess' nanny told the chamberlain that the prince's expensive little dresses began to disappear in some strange way. Apparently they were stolen by someone from the palace servants, because the laundress returned everything in perfect order. And the suspicion fell on Inga, a very young orphan who repaired the prince's clothes, sewed buttons and ribbons on tiny clothes. No matter how she insisted that she didn't take anything, it was all in vain. No one except her was engaged in the princess' clothes, and when several princess' shorts were found in her room, which Inga took to fix, logically, it was considered that she was definitely to blame, and the girl was kicked out of the palace in disgrace. In a complete despair, the girl wandered along the road. She went wherever she could, just to get away from the palace and from those people who thought that she was a thief. At the end, late in the evening, she came to the forest lake where the troll house stood. She came to the shore and bent over the mirrored surface of the water. How she wanted to dive into the deep, cool, clear water and never see people again. Then she felt someone pulling at her skirt and turned around and saw an ugly old woman in a black scarf. The old woman was smiling broadly, and her eyes looked kindly at the frightened girl. "There is no need for you to stand here in the cold late night," she said in a raspy voice. "Come to my house. You will be cozy and warm there." Although the girl was afraid of this old woman, she still followed her. After all, it's nice that someone gently calls you home. Don't do this, kids. When she entered the house and saw a boy with black hair, she realized that it was just Laundress from the forest and stopped being afraid. When the old woman offered Inga to stay with them and help a little with the housework, she gratefully agreed because she had nowhere else to go. To tell the truth, the old woman and her son seemed strange to her, but after all, they lived in such a remote place and apparently went wild without seeing people. So Inga decided to stay. They were kind to her. When Inga wanted to help the old woman with the laundry, she wouldn't let her, saying that the girl's hands were too tender and white for such work. Let him cook better food, So they wanted Inga to cook food such as they cook in the village, and they will be happy and satisfied. And the girl began to cook porridge, cool and smudge, I don't know what is it, baked pancakes and rolls, and the old woman and her son ate, and they were not happy? What? I don't know, probably some kind of hiccup in translation. They were obviously happy with all the food. Inga dressed up the house as best as she could, tidied up her little room in the kitchen where the old woman and her son were sleeping, so that they really felt more comfortable. As soon as the old woman saw a thin and fair-haired girl near the shiny, smooth-like mirror lake, she immediately decided that this was the right bride for her son. Here it comes where the things get creepy. And she told him about it. The young troll didn't even want to listen to her, but the longer he looked at Inga, the more he wanted his mother's words to come true. He could sit for hours in the corner of the kitchen and watch her to do the housework. Inga felt uneasy when his black eyes were constantly watching her. It seemed to her that he looked like an ugly dog who was used to being kicked and missed being petted, but it would have been easier for Inga to pet a dog than to be friendly with this guy, whom she only felt disgust for without knowing why. Remember, trolls are pretending that they're people. And he was trying his best to please her. As soon as she wants something, he immediately rushed to fulfill her desire. It was even a burden to her. Walking through the woods one day, she wondered what the strange antics and winks of the old woman meant. "It will be hard for me to live with them. I can't stand it for long," she decided, "but where can I go?" And then, unexpectedly, she met a young royal hunter on the forest path. Earlier, when she was sitting sewing in the palace garden, he spoke to her so cheerfully and courteously, but now he probably thinks that she is asleep. She looked away and turned onto another path. But the young man caught up with her. "Hello, Miss Inga," he said. "I have been looking for you for a long time to say that I never believed in what you were accused of." She stopped, looked at him, and tears came to her eyes. So there was at least one person who believed in her innocence. "Come with me," he continued. "I'll take you to my mother, and in a few years, when I'm on my feet, you and I will get married." Easy! I like how everything is so easy in the fairy tales. But Inga is not that easy. Inga shook her head. Your mother will not want such a daughter-in-law, she said, because I will shame you if you marry me. But still, thank you for believing in my honesty. The young hunter wanted to keep her, asked her to at least tell him where she lives, but Inga did not agree in any way. Don't follow me, she said, and quickly disappeared into the woods. And a young troll, who was following the girl out of habit, hid behind the stone at a distance and overheard her conversation with the young hunter. Greatly saddened, he wandered back to his house. Meanwhile, Mama Troll looked at the princess' dress, made of an expensive lace, thin and delicate as a spider's web. Look at this dress, she said happily to her son, who entered the house. Do you think it will suit you and Inga's baby? Don't you dare tell me any more about this, his son hissed angrily in response. Would she really want to marry someone like me? No, she will choose a handsome and portly guy in a green velvet hat with feathers. Just look at my black hair, wide muzzle and big furry paws, he shouted and bitterly rested his head against the wall of the house, so much so the wall creaked. I don't know what means portly. What is it? And that's probably some hiccup in translation. Is it a word? Fat? Plump? No, maybe Inga likes the guy who's plump. Why not? I'm not setting up beauty standards for men here, okay? Come on, son, said the old woman. Rely on me in everything. And now go to the palace as soon as possible with the laundry, and don't forget to conjure when they count it, because I'm not going to give them this dress. Then she put the dress in the trunk and slammed the lid. She had heard that there was a commotion in the palace because of the missing clothes of the princess, and now she did not dare to keep several dresses at once. But she could not hide this, the most beautiful one. The young troll left, and soon Inga returned. Listen, my dear, said old woman. Wouldn't you and Julie make a good couple? And seeing how frightened Inga was at this, she quickly continued, come here, take a look at what I'm going to show you. With a mysterious look, she lifted the lid of the trunk, deciding that now the girl would become more accommodating. Accommodating? More agreeable, maybe. Have you ever seen such beauty? When you marry Julie, your little girl will wear these dresses. Why, these are princess clothes! The girl screamed in fright. So what? The old woman answered. Please, just right for your kids. So don't you understand, mother, that you can't take them? They are stolen. Stolen? The old woman was angry. People come up with such strange words. It is necessary to take what comes into your hands by itself. Don't you know that it's bad to steal? Inga asked in horror. I don't want to hear it, the old woman hissed, and throwing an evil look at the girl, snatched the dresses from her hands and threw them into the trunk. From that strong movement, the tied tail slipped out, and when Mama Troll bent over the chest, the girl noticed it. Petrified with fear, Inga sat down on the bench, and the old woman angrily slammed the lid of the trunk and went to the door, dragging her tail behind her. Yes, make sure the coffee is ready when I turn over. She turned around in the doorway. I don't have time to talk to you here. I need to do laundry. As soon as the old woman left, Inga slipped out of the house and ran into the woods. Away, away, away from the trolls, she sobbed. How could she have lived with them for so long? She was still trembling with fear, and then again she met a young plump hunter, who was wandering alone in anguish and sadness in the forest after Inga ran away from him. The girl rushed to him, trembling all over, leaned her head over his shoulder, and muttering something about scary trolls. He drew sword and asked where she had seen the trolls. No, don't hurt them, she said. After all, they were the only ones who pitied me and were kind to me. Then he again offered to take her to his mother, and this time she agreed. She was too tired. Girls, do not agree to things when you're tired. Go get some rest. Go take a nap first. The young hunter's mother was an intelligent and kind woman. She immediately realized that Inga needed to be calmed down, and without asking her anything, she put her to bed and began to take care of the girl as she were her daughter. Everything is okay here. Everything is wholesome, guys. Meanwhile, the troll's son rode to the palace in a gloomy mood. The young hunter did not get out of his head, that plump hunter. And when the laundry was counted, he forgot to mutter the magic spell. He only woke up from his sad thoughts when the chamberlain angrily asked where the princess' elegant dress had gone. Oh, not enough? What is it? He asked, trying to smooth his hair. So I must have forgotten it. I will have to go home for it. And when the young troll returned home, he did not find either Inga or the old troll there. He opened the trunk and began rummaging through it. Who knows, muttered the troll, what kind of things they missed out of all of this pile. Perhaps just in case you need to take a few pieces. Such and such and such. And he chose some small blouses and dresses and went back to the palace. Entering the royal kitchen, he took out one dress. Is that what is missing? What is it? He asked, and when the cook stared at him in surprise, he pulled out several more dresses at random. Maybe one of these? Here the cook imperceptibly gave a sign to the scullion to call the chamberlain, who immediately appeared in the kitchen. The troll didn't notice anything until a heavy hand landed on his shoulder. Dun dun dun! It was the guards, who arrived in time to seize the thief and put him in the tower. Only then did the troll realize that he was caught. Enraged, he kicked one guard, punched another so that he flew off to the side, then jumped into the cart and rolled so fast that only sparks flew from under the horse's hoofs. Before the guards came to their senses and rushed to catch up with him, he had already disappeared from sight. And when the riders galloped to the hut on the shore of the lake, it was empty. Only the sagging door creaked, swinging on rusty hinges, and the wet clothes, hanging on the rope, fluttered on the wind. Meanwhile, the palace remembered about the poor girl who was kicked out for nothing. The queen repented of her cruelty and ordered to find her. She was very happy when the hunter said that he knew where Inga was. The queen immediately ordered him to saddle a horse and ride after her. Upon learning that the thief had been found and that the troll and Mama Troll has disappeared, Inga immediately recovered from joy. Anyway, she was happy, obviously, and hurried to go with the hunter to the palace. The queen welcomed her with open arms and told the girl to tell about everything that happened to her. After listening to Inga, yay! After listening to Inga, she said, I was thinking of taking you to the city with me and teaching you to be the court lady. I think we're gonna have a Hallmark story here. Inga will go to big city to be successful. But surely you want to marry the hunter. Choose for yourself. I like that there is a choice for the girl. And the girl replied that she wanted to marry Hunter much more. Well, he was a charming guy. Take a nap before you answer. You want to go to the city and get education. The queen appointed him as a forester and ordered them to build a cozy house for them on the shore of the forest lake. And the troll's hut was razed to the ground. And been more than a year since Inga and Hunter got married, and then one autumn evening they were sitting together in their house and look at the baby sleeping on Inga's lap. The baby was so beautiful. Happy Inga smiled at him, and then a heavy sigh was heard outside of the window. She turned her head to the window and saw the troll's gloomy eyes were staring at her through the glass. Inga screamed in fear, and her husband ran out to see who was really there. "Who is there?" he shouted. But in response, he heard only the howling of the wind. When he was about to go back into the house, he saw something white on the porch, and it was a bundle of little washed princess dresses. The last time the trolls made themselves known in these parts of the country. Apparently they went to the dense forests, and Inga, sometimes remembering the troll, Mama Troll and her son, still wished them well. Let them live comfortably and live together with other trolls. The end. The moral of the story: take a nap before you make decisions.